We're
First
getting
quarter,
ready.
we got. Oh, thank God. That's a bad sound.
No, we're good.
Okay,
All right. You ready to start?
let's go.
All right. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to episode 43 of Two Dudes with Sports News. As always, my name is Garrett. I'm here with my co-host.
What it do? What it do? This is Jalen Prince.
Hey, we got a bit of an interesting episode this week. We actually got some guests on the show right now. So, Jalen, let's go ahead and introduce everybody.
Yes. Very interesting. Our first live stream of Two Dudes with Sports News, and we're honored to have the crew, the 3 of 4 hosts, club owners of the Sports After Dark Twitter space. We have Miss Ashley Baker, Young Heavy, and the Super Bowl champion Mark Gunnels right there. We have the crew to join us. So to have our first live stream, we had to have one of the hottest sports talk Twitter spaces in the game right now. Guys, how y'all doing?
Pretty good. Thanks for having us on, man.
Doing pretty good. Appreciate the invite, man.
True. Pleasure's all mine. Pleasure's all mine. So we got a big show
Ours,
today.
thank you. Leave me out of this.
My bad.
Even though you set up everything, you know I'm messing with you, man. But yeah, so I want to apologize too for anybody who's watching the live stream. I am going to be looking back and forth between the two of them. Got a big monitor behind me, so if it looks like you're not paying attention, I promise you I am. But let's get right into it.
Let's get into it. So in this show we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Of course, NBA news, Jalen Hurts getting his contract, how it could possibly affect Lamar Jackson's contract situation, as well as the NBA and the NFL draft coming up in just less than a week. But first things first, we got the Sports After Dark crew with us here today. The reason why I wanted to bring them on, they average at least close to 300 to 400 to 500 listeners per space, per activation. They have a community that's over close to, I believe it's getting close to like I know it's over 1,000, but y'all over 10,000 now?
We closing in on like 2,000.
Yeah, we closing on 2,000.
Getting close to 2,000 on that community. It's not hard to follow, so just go to Sports After Dark, type it in. It's gonna be the first thing that's gonna pop up in that search tab. But before we get into all the other sports talk, I want you guys to tell me, how were y'all able to get started?
I'll take that, I guess.
Yeah, she got to take that one.
So I'm like the beginner of everything. I decided, listen, I've always wanted to have like a barbershop style like platform, or like just vibe, talking sports, doing it with multiple people, and Clubhouse had been around prior to Twitter Spaces, but I didn't really gravitate to it much. Shout out to our graphics guy, Roscoe, because Roscoe actually put me on into my first Twitter space. And I think it was a 49ers space right before, the very first time we saw them in the playoffs, and went in there, talked my talk, saw that you were able to give like 10 people mics. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is a vibe right here. This is what I've been waiting on, something just like this, right? Insert Mark Gunnels. I hit up my bro and I'm like, we should start doing like spaces, like top 5 list spaces, stuff like that. And it just kind of clicked. And Heavy was like one of the top individuals that would always come in there, talk to us or whatever, about the sport, about what was going on. We was just like, let's co-host him. Let's give him a co-host. He know what he talk about. This guy is on the money. And so insert Heavy. And it kind of just happened like a big boom, honestly. It started with the top 5 list. That kind of snowballed. At that point, it kind of snowballed into like NBA playoffs, because it started around that time of the year. We were going virtually every night. And then it just kept going. It just didn't stop. Folks were asking for it. it just became a big thing. I mean, none of us could walk into another Twitter space without like, oh, hey, Sports After Dark is here. I mean, folks was hitting us up on the timeline, tagging us about it. I can't go onto a show without folks mentioning Sports After Dark at this point. Some of the, top people in the media industry mention it when they talk about me or Heavy or Mark, so yeah, that's kind of how it started. Just I noticed that it was like barbershop style talk, and I wanted in. So that's pretty much it.
Mark, have y'all want to add something?
Yeah, I guess I'll go next. Yeah, Ashley pretty much hit on a lot of the talking points there. Me and Ashley, we know each other for a long time, like through NABJ. We met the first time, and it's ironic because we got into a barbershop type of argument in person at the convention because she's a big Tom Brady fan, and obviously I'm Kansas City, so Patrick Mahomes at that time it was only his second season, entering his second year, so he won MVP already, but he lost to Tom Brady obviously in the AFC Championship game. So we had a little argument there, me talking about how he could be the next potential GOAT and stuff like that, and she wasn't hearing it. That's probably why she just left now, because she's not hearing it right now. But nah.
I heard that. Just so
you get that?
I heard that.
Okay. So I was talking about how we met the first time at the NABJ, and we had like a barbershop type of argument about Brady and Mahomes. It's actually a video on it. I'm going to have to send it to you guys. It was pretty good. And like I said, this is before he won his first championship. So now he's got two. So I'm really on Ashley's head now. We coming for Brady. But
we almost had you in the
so
you almost had you for the second one.
Hold on, because Mark trying to revise the conversation on it. Don't let him fool y'all, okay? My daughter came in here. I got some stuff going on in the house. That's why I was distracted.
Understood.
No smoke.
I gotcha.
But no, it is a video, and like he said, that was the first time us like meeting. So it was like off the bat, and after that,
chemistry was already there.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And then after that, it was. He would kind of like hit me up more than I would hit him up. You know what I mean? I mean, we're in media, of course, you know what I'm saying? But Mark, immediately became like my brother. Like immediately it was, hey, what you think about this? And next thing you know, we're back and forth like every day. Whenever I knew there was something going on, whenever Mark texted me, it was something popping. Something had dropped. There was some type of news. I'm like, ooh, what Mark got to say now? So that chemistry was definitely there. And it doesn't stop with just me and him, because me, him, and Heavy, and CeeLo, we go at it. Y'all don't understand. Like on our side,
no, I understand.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's really that. So bringing all of those ideas and everything, all of our personalities together, it just works, man. It just works.
And then
Heavy, go ahead.
Before Heavy go, and we all met for the first time in person all together at this past NABJ in Las Vegas. So that was definitely a good vibe. I know that was Heavy's first convention, so he can speak on that a little bit if he wants to. But I know that was a great experience for all of us to be there together in Las Vegas with all these creators around, people talking to us about Sports After Dark. Like that's when we knew it was kind of like this is really like a big thing. People just walk up to us randomly talking about, "Hey, I like what y'all doing at Sports After Dark." I'm like, "Dang, like y'all really be tapped in." So yeah, it's definitely booming for sure.
I agree, Mark. That's for sure. Go ahead, Heavy.
And Ashley, like Mark said, Ashley kind of hit on it. Like I didn't know anything about Twitter Spaces when I first came on there. So first space I came into was her space. She was doing the top 5 shooting guards of all time, and her and Mark was up there. And I went up there and got a mic, but I had to earn my stripes because they didn't know who I was. So it went from, I liked how you were able to give your sports knowledge, but if you don't know what you're talking about, they pack you up. So, you know what I mean? It gave me like barbershop talk, what I used to do all the time. So I'm like, oh, this is pretty dope. I like this. So like it went from that to the football top 5s. They was doing quarterbacks, running backs. And I was like, oh, I really like this. Then, one day, Ashley Baker came to me. And at first, one of the co-hosts couldn't co-host for the night. So she was like, you want to co-host and help us out tonight? And I was like, oh, man, I'm starting to earn my stripes. She asked me to co-host. I done made it. And it went from there, and it took off from there. And then, like Mark said, the first time I met them at NABJ, being around all these other people that was in sports media, I'm like a kid in the candy store. Like, this is a whole new world to me amongst 2 people that's already seasoned in the game. So I'm just like, wow, I finally get to meet Mark for the first time. And like, like she said, like that's like a brother to me. Like it ain't you couldn't say family wouldn't make me closer to him. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I look forward to keep building the friendship and the sport relationships that I have with them. So I'm definitely looking forward to meeting Mark again in Kansas City because I ain't seen my dog since Vegas. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing my dog in Kansas City for the NFL draft.
Next week, baby.
We are
There you
there
go.
next week. Sports
Yeah, we
After Dark is
outside.
there next week.
How many years have y'all had Sports After Dark? How many years has it been? What
Sports
anniversary are
After-
y'all coming up?
Sports After Dark is about to turn 1. I'm gonna tell you right now when Sports After Dark is turning 1. Give me like 30,
we are
30
one already.
seconds. I think it's
We
coming
might
up.
have passed one.
We gotta have
already.
a birthday. We gotta have a birthday party.
I think we're late.
We might be
No,
like
for real. No, I think it was it may have been in April. I'm gonna tell you right now. Wait. Just let me do it. I got y'all. I'm gonna tell you, oh brother. Am I gonna be able to find it?
it might be April.
Yeah, it might be April. Here it is. May
April 9th
12th.
was our birthday.
Oh,
I
May 12th.
named it Sports After Dark officially May 12th.
because
Okay.
we were doing spaces before that, but we
Correct.
didn't officially name it.
I
Correct.
gotcha.
The official, we definitely passed the official anniversary date. That probably was in like February.
Yeah.
But the actual like Sports After Dark, tagging a name to it, creating a beginning of creating the brand for it.
And creating the
is May
poster.
12th. Yeah.
All right, y'all talked about your history. I gotta know, when did Sports After Dark boom? When did it actually hit where y'all are consistently getting around 300 to 400 listeners per show? What was the
That's
moment?
a good question.
Football season, right?
Yeah,
I
I'll
think
say
the
football
biggest peak
season.
was football season.
I think football season we took off football season.
Yeah.
There you go.
Our state when we did the state of our divisions. Garrett, you gotta make sure you come around. We do the state of AFC.
Hey,
South.
let me
They
know.
do.
I will
They
be
do.
there.
Your Jags.
I will be there. I will
Yeah.
defend my Jags until the day I die.
Garrett,
I don't know if
Garrett,
y'all can see the shirt. It's the
Yeah,
ugliest
I
shirt
see
I
you. We
own, but I
see.
love it.
Garrett, I'm gonna
Born
give you
at 2
heads up.
Jacksonville.
Garrett, I'm gonna give you heads up. There's another Jags fan that comes on Sports After Dark that's much more louder and much more like heated.
Cody.
Oh, he talking about Spody.
Yeah.
I'm
Nah,
a little more
Cody,
laid back.
man.
You're the laid back version.
Jalen and I have talked about this a
You're
little
gonna
bit.
have backup for sure, Garrett.
I'll
for
take
sure.
it.
You'll have
J-
backup.
now we get the bandwagon fans too, but we'll get there. Jalen and I have talked about this too.
Like because after every game, like primetime games,
Yeah.
we would have the space. Like every Thursday
Okay.
night, Sunday night, Monday night, and then obviously on Sunday we'll recap the games from the entire day plus that Sunday night game. So I feel like when we started doing that, that's when we started really getting that consistent numbers. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ashley and Young.
I'm
You're right.
agree with you 100%.
That's correct.
That's when we started going crazy.
Yeah, and it was good because it was consistent. Folks love consistency. So knowing that we were going to be on every Sunday night, every Monday night, and even on the born Thursday night after the mid, oh my goodness, how mid was the Thursday night football games this past season, right?
Wasn't
So
a good
the
day for
weekly-
Prime. Wasn't a
Yeah.
good day for Amazon
So
Prime.
The weekly
So
pillow
big.
fights.
Yeah,
The weekly pillow fights is a good one.
yeah. So folks just love consistency, and that's the biggest thing. If that's the biggest thing I'm proud of with this entire thing is that we grinded our behinds off for an entire year. You've been in there, Jalen. It's not a
Yep.
situation where we're just talking for an hour.
Nope.
And we're talking about after primetime football games, which end at what, 11:30 at night. There are
Something like
times
that,
when we
yeah.
were on these spaces until 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning during football season.
Yeah.
But I had always
Out
preached
to the West
everybody-
Coast.
Well, not with Mark. Mark was
Yeah,
always,
Mark, he.
oh,
Yeah, you're
God.
fine.
Wait, he on that West Coast time, man.
You know what I'm
Like,
saying?
Mark was
they don't
always
sleep.
in the
I'm out here
clear.
miserable.
They don't
Like
sleep.
me and Ashley Baker, we looking at it's 1 o'clock. Mark, like it's only
It's just
10
10
p.m.
over here.
Man,
I'm just
they
waking
don't
up,
sleep.
just getting
I'm just,
ready.
you
I'm
know.
just good.
Y'all could be me. Y'all could be East Coast.
Yeah.
Mark always
so,
starting on
East
us like
Coast.
it's 9 p.m. over here.
so that was the big thing. Like creating, I want people to know when it's big things happening and it's a big sport something. When all else fails, Sports After Dark is running. It's gonna be after dark. Expect it sometime in the nighttime. Sports After Dark is running, and people could count on that. And so that was like the biggest thing. And I think that's what brought those numbers in and kept those numbers going through the entire season, and even now.
That's one thing we got to get better at. Honestly, is consistency.
Yeah, this is gonna be big.
It's
Going along with how y'all were able to stay consistent on each and every show. Y'all generate close to, again, I mentioned 300, 400, 500 listeners per show. But if the Cowboys lose, it's going to be around 700, 800, 900, close to 1,000, especially when they lose.
Nasty
So
word.
let me ask y'all this. Given y'all have so many listeners and y'all give opportunities for other people, whether they know the game or not, to have an opportunity to come in and voice their opinions on that. How are y'all able to manage so many different type of personalities, vulgar people that could be like it could get out of hand? How are you able to manage those type of those personalities that come on the show?
Go ahead, Happy.
That's a thin line that you walk in, because like we do like the back and forth in there. We like people to show their intelligence of the game, so we let the back and forth go, but we just want to keep it sports. We don't like it where it goes beyond that, because what we started to learn doing this thing, that people don't know how to leave their personal life and sports. They don't know how to separate the two. Dude. So once we start to get a feel that it's starting to get a little personal, Mark will hit the mute button quick and be like, all right, y'all, let's bring it back to what it was. Or Ashley will be like, all right, y'all, let's get it back to where the topic. This is great conversation, but we don't need to be taking it personal. So like we'll kind of sense it going, but we love the back and forth and the jokes you may tell, because that's what make it is. Because that's, like she said, that's how it is when you debating sports and when you're in the barbershop. That's just how it is. So we like to have that feel to it.
Okay, two more questions, then we're going to get into some NBA playoffs talk. So going along with that, dealing with the personalities, to y'all's memory on each one, what was what can y'all remember the most heated altercation that's ever came on Sports After Dark? If you can't, each of y'all,
I can.
So talk.
Well, one of the, it's so, we have a list. Honestly, we probably have a list, and again, 9 times out of 10, it is NFL related. NFL brings out a different emotion in people. Mark has said it plenty of times. Even in us to get throughout each other. You don't know how many times Mark gets on my nerves when it comes to the Chiefs. You really we be going back and forth, right? So probably the most volatile ones are the state ofs, when you're getting all of the division rivals in one situation.
AFC North.
The AFC.
AFC North. Ooh.
We got a friend of the show.
To be fair, the NFC South is bad too.
For sure.
The NFC South was crazy too.
Falcons and Saints fans. Woo!
We got a friend of the show.
Jalen, you had to get on the vest and put your helmet on coming, because it was bullets flying all day when it was in the NFC South, man.
We got a friend of the show. I want to shout out Jim from Fan of the Van. Dude's hilarious. I love listening to his show, but he actually just got way in. And him and I take the same approach when it comes to and Jalen, you and I were talking about this before we started recording. We take the same approach when it comes to dealing with some certain people. If I have time, I'll get into Twitter beef. Last week, I was going. If y'all saw the Sun Belt destroy the University of Nebraska, it was just mwah. It was just beautiful. The team that has been, I'll take all the smoke, a team that had been relevant in 30 years. But since the mid 90s, oh my God. We're going to go on a tangent here.
What do you mean?
Georgia Southern beat Nebraska. Crappalachian State beating, I think
it was giving Dallas vibes. It was giving Dallas vibe, a team that hasn't won since the 90s. It was giving Dallas vibes.
Nebraska.
Not too much on teams that haven't won since
Here's
the 90s.
The thing. Dallas at least makes it to the playoffs. Nebraska has been in the basement of the Big Ten for the last.
They haven't been close to a conference championship.
No, they're in the basement of the Big Ten. I'd rather be top 4 in the Sun Belt than basement of the Big Ten.
And don't get me started with Notre Dame.
Hey, Gary, I ain't gonna lie. The last time I feel like Nebraska was good, especially college football wise, when Ron Dane was there.
Yep, it was I think
I feel like that probably was the last time I feel like they were good, and that was years ago.
1997 was their last natty, and then 2001
that was the year he won the Heisman. I want to say.
Also, the last time I remember they were relevant, Ndamukong Suh was there.
Yep, that's true too.
Oh yeah, Suh, I forgot.
They ain't been relevant in a minute. They haven't been. No, Suh was Nebraska.
Suh was Nebraska. Okay. He was a Heisman finalist that year.
Yep.
Oh, right.
We're getting way off track.
Who was the last time they were relevant? Okay.
All right. Last
Jim
question.
got into it with some AFC North fans too. He's a Steelers fan, so he was going at it with some Browns fans.
That's when they seem to get the craziest to me. It's going to be football related, and it brings out a different emotion in people. So
for sure.
My last question with y'all involving y'all space. How far can y'all really take this thing?
I'll let Mark answer that one.
Yeah, I don't think there's no limit. That's the beauty in this thing, right? Obviously, you're looking at potential sponsorships. Like we always say, you never know who's gonna come into your Twitter space. You know, people are always watching. You know, people are in there on their burner accounts. You know, important people. Like I totally believe that 100%. So you just never know. Like I said, sponsorships, getting big guests in there, which could lead to financial opportunities for us as a collective. You know, obviously we're thinking about doing even like a podcast video thing, right? We're on YouTube right now. We're on Spotify. So we've already expanded beyond just being on Twitter space. So I think I made Ashley proud with that answer. I'm sure she would have probably said those things.
No, you can't teach that. You know, you gotta have it in you. And got Gunnels and Heavy and CeeLo, they have it in them. You know, I am proud.
I do have a question for Ashley, real quick.
Sure.
You actually have a professional relationship with Fox Sports' own Joy Taylor. How were you able to how were you able to connect with her? And also, like, did you connect with Marcus Spears from ESPN?
Mm-hmm.
How did that happen?
That's a real subtle flex right there, real quick. Y'all put that little something, you know.
I like swag.
I know people.
To be honest, so let me think. Probably about 3 years ago, I was kind of having a little bit of an internal battle here, like when to be myself, when not to be, right? And I had a conversation. Shout out to Vashti Hurt. She's the founder of the Carolina Blitz. She's bomb. Had a conversation with her on the phone, and she was just like, look, sis, if you're too busy being like everybody else, then you won't stand out. You got to be yourself. And I decided to just authentically be myself in this sports thing. And a lot of that started to show itself on social media and on Twitter and everything like that. And I think I was just looking at how like Joy would clap back at like the trolls, and I loved her hairstyles. And one day she followed me, and then she would start interacting with my stuff and the things that I was talking about. Once she saw that I was like a sports personality, and I asked her to be on my show, and she accepted. And what was this, Mark? Because I pulled Mark, Renee Washington, and Brian Waters in on that show with me. We were talking playoffs. I think
what's your show? Go ahead and
it's my show is about nothing but sports. And so we put her in on that. That was the first time I put her in. It was like a panel. We were talking like wild card weekend. I think it was the year before last. Had to be 2020. Had to be. Were we quarantined? No, it was 2021. It was 2021. And ever since then, we've just been cool. We exchanged information. I've always been able to reach out to her for media advice. And that stuff kind of snowballed into just like a genuine friendship. So I'll hit her up. She can hit me up. We'll just see how the other is doing. If we know we're going to be in the same city, you know, we intend to link, you know, stuff like that. So she's super cool. That same thing kind of happened with Marcus Spears. I just commented on something that he tweeted, and he followed me and then started engaging with my content after that. And I ended up having him on my show as well. So that's kind of how it went with those two. But it was, at the end of the day, when it boils down to it, it was just me authentically being myself. They're I don't want to say like they're different species, but honestly, like
they're at another level.
TV or not, man, they're humans. They don't like. They want you to treat them like they're human, you know what I mean? And they are. It's Joy and Marcus. Like, to me, that at this point, that's what it is. So, they're really cool people.
All right. In that regard, too, before we get too far away from that, I mean, you're right. Like, a lot of these people are people, and if they want you to treat them like they're a step above everyone else, you will know.
For sure.
You will know. Sure. And if they don't act like that,
they
just treat them like normal people.
For sure.
Exactly. You'll know when they walk in.
Because Kanye gonna let you know he Kanye. He don't want nobody about him. Just
and that's gonna get us into our next topic of conversation. Guys, it's NBA playoff time. Y'all been going back and forth with NBA with a bunch of different fans. We got 2 Lakers fans in here. Well, one's a Lakers fan, the other one's a LeBron. So I'm told credit to Ashley Baker. Ashley,
I gave him that little piece for you, Mark.
Ashley being a huge Paul George fan, so I know she's going to be supporting the Clippers if they're able to advance. Speaking of the Clippers, and speaking of like having attitudes with people that don't see them as humans, Russell Westbrook got into it with a Phoenix Suns Phoenix Sun fan. So knowing that's going out the way, but just given how he played in the first game, albeit like a lot of the issues are going to be squashed. Game 2 is going to be later tonight. My Atlanta Hawks are going against Garrett's Celtics currently right now. But given how the NBA playoffs, off the current game ones, what's been y'all's biggest surprise with every single game one that we've seen thus far?
I have my least biggest surprise, and I've been saying it for weeks.
What's
is that the Phoenix Suns are going to just implode in a spectacular fashion, that they won't make it to the conference finals like everybody has been saying they have. I want to shout out John over at Live of the Playing Field, who's him and I were going back and forth when the trade happened. I'm like, they're going to find a way to screw this up. They always do. The Browns are going to brown. The Clippers are going to do Clippers things. And
the Mets are going to Met.
The Mets are going to Met. The Knicks are going to Knicks. And then Chris Paul will always find a way to not get his ring. And he deserves a ring. I love Chris Paul, but he's not getting it. I don't see it. I think the man's cursed. But I mean, honestly, biggest surprise to me though has been the Kings.
Who's next?
I would probably have to agree. The Kings. We had a conversation in Sports After Dark a couple weeks ago, and I'm not sure if we all agree, but I know certainly Heavy and I agreed that the Kings were going to kind of fall from grace. What's this? Right after like the trade deadline, and the Lakers made their
Demonis and Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah, the Lakers made their moves. You know, pieces got moved around. Kyrie went to the Mavs. Like we were like, okay, that was just for play with the Kings. They're not gonna. And they never like faltered. Like they started looking better.
They got better.
It just didn't happen. So I would probably say the Kings, simply because folks just didn't have faith. Kings for me.
Yeah,
I saw a stat the other day. I didn't mean to cut you off, Mark. Go ahead. Sorry.
You're good. So first game ones, I would probably have to say the Miami Heat. Now it goes with a stipulation because I didn't think Giannis would get hurt in the first quarter.
Nobody saw that.
That
or Tyler Hero for that.
A huge part in that. So if I were to foresee that before the game, then probably it wouldn't have been a surprise that the Heat won that game. But, still, I didn't think the Heat would win that game regardless heading into it. As far as the Kings go, I'm not surprised they won game one. I'm surprised they won both games at home.
True.
I thought Golden State would definitely at least win one of those games and go back to Chase Center 1-1. So the fact that they didn't even get one, and I know the whole road record thing with the Warriors, but maybe I was just naive into thinking, well, it's the playoffs now.
No back-to-backs, everything slows down type stuff.
Yeah,
but you got to protect home court.
They've been here before. They'll win a game on the road, and their road roles still continue. They can't win on the road.
Heavy, let me go before you real quick. I'm gonna say I wasn't surprised that they won both their home games. I think with the Kings, who remembers when Steph Curry and the Golden States really took off? It was back in I believe it was 2012 that this was back when Mark Jackson was the head coach of the Golden State Warriors. So Steph was just taking off, really cementing himself. He beat at that time Golden State were the number 6 seed. They was going against the number 3 seed Denver Nuggets back when they had Ty Lawson, Kenneth Faried, and JaVale McGee. Steph Clay. I remember young Draymond. They had Carl Landry and Jarrett Jack on that team. They were the young thoroughbreds that were on the rise, and they end up beating a number 3 seed. Steph really submitted himself as being the best shooter in the league at that time. And later on they lost to the Dynasty Spurs in the second round. But I'm sensing another moment right now with the Sacramento Kings, given their GM that was trained under Daryl Morey. Given their coach who was trained under Steve Kerr with Mike Brown, who I believe is going to be coach of the year, but also the emergence of Domantas Sabonis following his game, and De'Aaron Fox is a flat-out stud, along with Malik Monk. By the way, Heavy, I know y'all wish I didn't let go of Malik Monk.
Don't even get me started.
I said it too about I said it too about De'Aaron Fox during that draft. I mean, he was the best point guard in the draft.
I was about to get into that. So
Lonzo.
Giving what the Kings have already built and how young they are with the nice amount of veterans, because Harrison Barnes, he's a veteran and he is a champion. He's done seen it. He's got the experience. He can be able to bring that to these young thoroughbreds. They're playing confident, not to mention Kevin Huerter's been to the Eastern Conference Finals. He's been in the playoffs. He's done got the experience. And if the people don't know who Kevin Huerter is, ask the Sixers fans in Game 7 if they know who he is. So given what the Kings have got, they got a lot of young guys, but the young guys also got some experience. So I'm not surprised they were able to get to Game 2. Here's what would surprise me: if they win either Game 3 or Game 4. That would
They
be
win one
my
of those
biggest
games. The
surprise.
series is over.
Really quick before you go heavy, Jalen, it's funny that you say that about the Kings because that was my sentiments for the Grizzlies. And I talk about that all the time, how I have this sense of those Warrior teams, 2013, 2012, 2013, 2014, that couldn't get over the hump. We kept hearing about them, but they just couldn't get over the hump. And then boom, in 2015, they finally got over the hump. Now, I'm not talking about in the sense with Memphis as far as like winning a whole like championship, but I kind of was feeling that when Ja came in. I'm like, okay, they're a gritty team, they're hungry, they're grinding, they're fast, they're exciting, this is the Warriors, but they're missing one thing that you said, and that's veteran presence. Steven Adams ain't enough. And so, you know, the Kings have everything that Memphis has, but they have that veteran presence, something that Memphis does not. Really.
I think they're also. I'm gonna let Heavy go. I'll respond to that later. Go ahead, Heavy. Biggest surprise.
Game ones, honestly, I'll have to lean towards Sacramento. Oh no, game one, I'll say the New York Knicks, man.
Okay.
I think because like a lot of people, you know, I personally got the Knicks in 7, but I felt like them getting Jalen Brunson. You see how much he means to that team.
I did not see that coming.
He means a whole lot to that team. Like you got a little glimpse of it last year when Luka got hurt against Utah last year. The first 2 games, Jalen Brunson was the huge reason why he was holding it down until Luka came back. So I just was like, you know what, Jalen Brunson makes a huge difference on that team, and you saw it in the first game, game 1. He was in foul trouble in the first half, but in the fourth quarter, he was huge. Like he had his imprint in the game when it came to scoring, when it came to making plays for everybody else. He showed how great he was and why he earned the money that he earned. And I'm with, you know, my other 2 hosts, Mark and Ashley, the Sacramento Kings. I was with Mark. It was cool that they won game 1, but how close it was game 1, I said, you know what? The Warriors going to win game 2 because, you know, forget the road record. They're defending champions. They got the championship pedigree. They'll go up in Sacramento and win game 2. And Sacramento didn't shoot. They were 9 for 40 from 3, and they still won the game. De'Aaron Fox closed them out in the fourth quarter, and I said, you know what? Like what you just said, whatever who said, if they win one of those, if they win game 3 or game 4, this series is over.
I don't think they win game 3, but they win game 4.
Sacramento.
They'll win game 4. They won't win game 3 because Golden State's can come back with a vengeance, but they'll win game 4.
Yeah, either one, if they get one of those games, the series is over.
Hey, Garrett, you want to talk to Draymond? You want to talk to Draymond?
Okay, let's do it, man. Let's get into it. I want to hear y'all's thoughts on this too, because like I see both sides. Like, allegedly, he grabs your leg. You can look at whatever angle you want. You can either fall over or try to, you know, balance, but there seemed to be a little more in it. Like it's
beating around the bush. You're beating around the bush.
I think he stepped on him, man.
Out like Kirk Franklin's song. That's what you really want to
ask. I think he stepped on him. Yeah, I think he stepped on him.
Stomp him out like Kirk Franklin's song.
He was A-Town stomping out.
I was gonna go Seth Rollins.
He stomped on him. He stomped on him.
He did a little wrestling move on him.
He stomped on him. There's no way around it.
Did y'all see on Twitter the video game they got Draymond in the ring?
I retweeted that. Yes, did y'all see that? I retweeted that. That was amazing.
That's exactly how it was, though.
The internet always wins, man. The internet always wins. I'll say that.
Always wins. But it's like when you look at the side angle, it looks okay, like a bang bang play. But when you look at the back camera angle,
it was very bad.
I'll say
it looked good.
Here's the deal. Draymond's history does not help.
No,
there's always something in the playoffs with Draymond. It's you landing in somebody's space and they turning their ankle. It's you kicking somebody in the nuts. Now it's you stomping on somebody's sternum. Like there's always something. I can't, unfortunately, for the most part. And then there's always an excuse. There's never any real accountability. Like, why does it happen in the most important games, Draymond? You know, the playoffs, like, you know what I mean? Like for the last couple of seasons, I can't ignore the history. I don't want to believe it because I like Draymond. I came for Draymond for years. I like Draymond. I love his grit. And I think he's good enough where he does not have to be dirty. He doesn't have to be dirty. He's good enough. He means everything to the Warriors. I have stood by that for years. So I would hope it ain't dirty. But that extra like horse kick, that's tough. I don't like that.
With that being said, should he be suspended for game 3?
I think so, but he won't.
Yeah. I want to give a shout out to Jim, who's actually in our chat right now from Fan of the Fan. He said Draymond looked like he was going to give dude the stone cold Steve Austin stomps in the corner.
Yeah, it was.
That's my goal.
And I'll say I agree with Mark. I think he should be suspended, but he won't. But I feel like what you were saying, Gary. Like, granted, even if Sabonis did grab your ankle, put it in a position where the refs can give him a tech. Follow.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Exactly.
I thought he did get a technical.
Oh yeah, he got a tech.
He got a tech.
But it was like,
Draymond ended up getting a flagrant too.
Yeah, it's like you didn't have to do all of that. Cool. Like you said, granted, he shouldn't have grabbed your ankle, but you could have walked away from the situation by just falling over him and letting it be what it was.
You know what it reminds me of?
Yeah.
Ndamukong Suh. Let's bring it back to the basketball too.
That's a great example.
You look at Albert Hainsworth too when he stepped on dude's face when he was in Tennessee. I know you remember that, Ashley.
But at that time, Sue had anger problems.
Yeah,
he had bad anger problems.
He did.
Draymond doesn't.
Yeah, I don't.
Allegedly, I don't want beef with Draymond.
That.
What you about to say, Mark?
Just like that, you gotta suspend them. I agree, Mark.
Mm-hmm. No, just a game or first half, even something.
I think what makes it worse is the fact after he did that, he's like doing all these antics in the crowd and egging him on, and he's showing no remorse at all for what he did. Like, the dude could have literally broke his ribs, and he's taunting, laughing, calling the crowd the P word. Like,
well, I'll take it a step further. And that's because of the trauma that I saw. But seeing Sabonis down kind of brought back DeMar Hamlin stuff to me. That quick force blunt to your chest. Like,
he's cleared to play next season.
But it immediately took me back there. Okay, we just went through this in football, and everybody knew what that was. So that chest area is a trigger for me now. When anything happens to any player and it's some type of blunt force, it's just a trigger to me.
And Draymond showed no remorse.
Yeah, and that's a
problem.
He showed act like he ain't even care.
He ain't help him up. My bad. None of that.
And like Mark said, it wasn't no accountability. He ain't even say like, "Listen, I was wrong for doing that." Like,
he just said he grabbed my leg.
Justify it because of what Sabonis did to him.
Yeah, like
he's trying to justify it.
Big shout out to DeMar Hamlin. He was also cleared by all medical personnel. He's going to be able to play next season. So thank God for that. I know he's happy as well to be able to have another chance to play the sport that he got. So I want to transition.
Mark, really quick, Mark. I see that Kansas shirt you got on there, brother. Yeah, I see it.
I want to touch on one thing too, Jalen, before we go.
Go ahead.
Like you said at the beginning of the show, when the Hawks started strong, I don't know if you saw the score at halftime.
Yeah, I'm looking at this. I wasn't going to say that.
61-49.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I'm trying to show Hawks some love because they was up like 8 in the first quarter. And I did a little quick glance at the TV.
Hey, I'm going to repeat what Ashley wanted me to repeat. When you are a fan or you from the state of Georgia and you are a fan of a Georgia sports team, understand this. No lead is ever safe.
Nope.
You ain't got no lead.
Nope.
You could be up by, if you ain't up by 30 in a few sports, heck, if you ain't up by 7 or 8 on a baseball field, or even hockey, but we ain't got no hockey team no more. Well,
we might soon.
But that's another story.
We might soon.
We'll talk about it another time. But here's the thing. When you are a fan of a Georgia sports team, whether it's high school, middle school, pee-wee, college, pro, no lead is ever safe. None.
Nope, it's the curse. It's the curse of the state, and I'd love to see it. It especially when my teams are playing Georgia teams, I love it. It makes me so happy going into it because that score could be, again, like you said, they could be up by 20 at halftime, and I can go into halftime and be like, "Oh, we'll be all right."
Let me transition back to this. So we got two Lakers in here right now. Y'all are up game 1. Ja Morant possibly could be out not only just for game 2, but he could possibly be out much longer. Given that, do y'all already see the series being over?
I'll let my man Mark Gunnels go with that one. You know what I'm saying?
The series over already.
Make sure y'all check my man out because he be on Laker Nation too, talking this thing with
I see him.
You mean the Los Angeles retirement home?
Him and old man Mike.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. No, it's not over. I mean, we saw the Memphis Grizzlies do very well without Ja this year and last year. They have a lot of depth on their team. Now, obviously, that was with Steven Adams for a lot of that, so that's a big loss. You don't have Brandon Clark there. I don't think he's going to play game 2. I'll be shocked. I do think he will try to give it a go game 3 because it's not until Saturday. I think it's best to give him the extra rest to let it heal up a little bit more. And then not to mention, they do have the best backup point guard in the league in Tyus Jones.
Yep.
Like Tyus Jones is a starting point guard for a lot of teams in the NBA right now. So they're still capable of winning tomorrow without Ja. Now, I'm not predicting that. I think the Lakers do go up 2-0. I think they understand the magnitude of trying to put their foot on their throat, going up 2-0, coming back to LA. If you just win one of those games, which you should, then you're up 3-1. At that point, the series is pretty much over with. So they win tomorrow. I do feel like they have a stranglehold on the series. But I'm not going to say it's over because, like I've said, Memphis has shown time and time again they can win games without Ja, and Tyus Jones is no slouch.
I just don't see him. I don't see nobody can stop AD like with the Grizzlies.
AD can stop AD.
He's the only person that can stop him. We've had that conversation. We've had that conversation a few times, and I tell them all the time. Me and Mark always say, like, once AD is locked in, can't nobody stop him. You know what I mean? He's clearly, arguably the best player on the court. When but besides being next to LeBron James, you can't do nothing with him. My personal opinion, of course, no, the series isn't over. Memphis is a good team. They're the second seed for a reason. I feel like that we're just locked in, that we, like Darvin Ham said after the game, stay humble. You know what I mean? We just didn't come here for one game. Stay locked in. You know what I'm saying? Like, one game doesn't tell the story of a series, because you can win one game and not win a game for the rest of the series. And honestly, I didn't have us winning game 1. I knew we could win game 1 or 2. But I thought, game 1 was probably going to be our fill-out game to see how they was going to play us and how we could adjust, and then we'll still game 2. But like Mark said, I feel like us winning game 1 will put us in a position to say, all right, we need to put our foots on there next so we can get their series, kind of push the series and get it over, because we got an older team with LeBron and AD, and you can see that rest helps our team out.
Y'all have a retirement home.
Yeah, we do. We pretty old over there. We got a 40-year-old superstar.
Hey, look, he's still great. I'm not trying to take anything from him, but y'all have an old team.
Yeah,
not really, because I look at the moves that y'all made during the trade deadline. You get Malik Beasley, even though he's not getting a whole lot of playing time like he did when he first got there. You look at Rui. We haven't seen Mo Bamba in a long time. At least maybe we have. I just haven't seen him enough. But just to see the emergence of Anthony Davis has been tremendous in this series. Actually, I want to go on you. I want to go your direction on this one. You're a Paul George fan. He's with the Clippers right now. The Clippers have a 1-0 lead. They played the Suns later tonight. Just on hype, like, what have you seen in that series, like off of game 1, and what could you possibly see like later tonight with the Suns and Clippers?
Okay, so did I see game 1? Did I watch game 1? I think I watched game 1. What is this? What was game 1? Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I was home. Was I here? Yeah, I think I was home. Listen, I'm traveling this weekend, so I had to remind myself.
Understood.
I know I watched because I remember seeing Russ hustle like that, and that is gonna bring me to Russell Westbrook. Listen, while Paul George is out, I am inclined to say, not in terms of what he can give you offensively, but just the overall concerted effort, this probably goes as far as Russ go. Like, Kawhi is dope. Yes.
Kawhi's gonna get his, yeah.
Kawhi gonna get his, that's fine. But you need somebody that's going to play make. You're gonna need somebody that's gonna hustle like Russ did. You need somebody that, when Russ get in his bag, he can, his court vision is like that. He can, dish out dimes. We've seen him do that. And we honestly saw down the stretch of the first game, him literally lock in, and I think he created 3 extra possessions at the end of that game. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. Especially how close the game was. So just to throw a little betting in there, that spread right now is +8. The Clippers +8. I absolutely hate that. I do not believe that if the Clippers lose this game, they're going to lose by 8 points. I think they're going to keep it close, but that, again, it's a lot riding on Russ because Kawhi's going to get his. I was happy to see that they grinded it out. They're obviously the better team as a collective with the bench and, everybody at like kind of talent for talent at each position. Obviously, Devin Booker and KD, we know what that is. But Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised at what I saw, especially since it was on the road. Stealing one on the road was a big deal. So I don't think they do it again tonight, though.
All right, real quick,
They
because
might
I want to make sure that we have enough time to talk to
Yeah,
Dragon and
gotta
ask
keep
y'all a
moving.
question. We got to be able to keep moving. So I'm gonna ask y'all this right now: who do y'all got going to the finals? Who y'all got winning the West? Who y'all got winning the West? Who y'all got winning the East?
It's Bucks for me in the East.
Okay,
I got the Bucks versus the Lakers in the finals.
Heavy.
Got the Bucks in the
All
finals.
right, all right. Well, we'll see. Like right
Celtics
now,
I ain't
Memphis.
give my West yet.
No, Celtics Kings. That's gonna
I
be
gotta
mine.
think
Celtics
about
Kings.
it.
Or
You got the Kings?
Celtics and
I got the Kings.
Garrett.
You're in the
But-
moment, Garrett. I think you're in the moment, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
I
Hey,
can't
we'll
go
see.
that. I can't go that far, man.
If the
'cause, like,
Lakers and the Kings play each other,
AD's gonna have a field day.
that's
Hey,
gonna
we'll
be
see.
Lakers
crazy.
and 6.
We'll see.
AD's
They gotta
gonna
go
have a
through
field day
Memphis
on that.
first.
Well, hold on. De'Aaron Fox has been making a whole lot of noise against the Lakers. He loves playing against the Lakers.
Yeah,
I will say
I got
that.
Clippers. I got Clippers Bucks, but that has to be with Paul George. He has to be playing.
All
I'll give
right,
you that.
let's
Let's
transition.
get to football, man.
Yo, let's talk. All right, so
Let's
the
get to
NFL draft is coming up. To remind our audience, heavy Niners fan, don't like you. Gunnels, Super Bowl champion Chiefs, credit to you. Ashley, that other team in the background, you already know. You already see it. So,
The Dallas
given the
One
draft,
Stars.
given the draft order, we're gonna try to make this quick. The draft order, we already know who the top 10 are. Based off the top 10 order, who do y'all see right now as the best player in this upcoming draft?
Top 10?
Yeah.
And the top 10 best
Yeah,
player.
but best player right now before it goes into order before the draft start. Who right now? Who is y'all's best player in this upcoming draft?
Anderson. I know Jalen. You and I agree on this. Anderson Jr. is the best player in the draft. I think the dude with the most potential is my dude out of Florida, but he is so unbelievably raw. It's not. He needs to.
Look his thing. I love the Terminator. I got Bryce Young.
I don't think Bryce is the best, and that's
I'm
no
going
disrespect
Bryce
towards Bryce.
Young.
I love
I'm
Bryce
going
Young, but I
Bryce
don't think he's
Young.
the best.
I'm going Bryce Young.
I don't think he's the best. I'm gonna go Anderson.
Here's my thing. Now you said top 10, but it's
Yeah.
a player that's going to fall past the top 10 that could arguably be better than the people that's in the top 10,
Who
you
you
got?
got?
which is Bijan Robinson.
Oh,
I'll
thank
give
God.
you
I thought you were gonna
Bijan.
say Will
I'll give
Levis.
you Bijan.
Oh,
Bijan's
heck
going to be
no, I
good.
wouldn't say Will Levis.
Oh,
No.
thank
Oh,
God.
no, don't.
No.
That man puts
Thank
mayonnaise in his
God.
coffee and eats bananas
No.
with the peel on. He deserves all kinds of hate. And then he also plays for Kentucky, which is a different
All
argument
right.
for another day.
Yeah.
Why you got
But if
Bijan?
in the top 10, I would go with Bryce Young, Jalen. I'll lean towards Bryce Young.
Why you got Bijan?
Bijan, because Bijan is he's an electric back. He's an every down back.
Oh,
He
he's a
can do
stud.
everything. He could do everything you need him to do, and he could get 20, 30 carries a game and win you a game. He got the explosive speed. He could yards after contact. He don't go down. So and he has if somebody really needed a running back, like desperately needed a running back, he would go in the top first 10 picks. That's the only reason why he's not going in the
If
first 10
Sa-
picks.
he's
They
the
don't need a
most
running back.
Saquon Barkley type back that I have
Hey.
seen since Saquon.
You
Absolutely.
mentioned Bijan going out of the top 10. Miss Ashley Baker, would you mind having Bijan on your team? Like help him stay in the state?
Yeah, if he falls to 26 where Dallas is, we gotta take him.
He won't make it past Dallas.
Yeah,
Oh, no, not at all.
No, he won't make it past Dallas. There's talks of him going to New England, which I don't believe in the slightest.
All right, let me go one by one on this one. So, Heavy, you're the Niners fan. Y'all made it to the NFC Championship game. We all know what happened. You lost Brock Purdy. You didn't have another quarterback to go along with that. Brock Purdy's going into this year. He's going with an MCL. He's going to repairing off the MCL. Reports said he won't be back until around maybe week 6, week 7. Around that time, you still got Trey Lance. The jury's still out on him. You finally let Jimmy Garoppolo go. And I remember all the Twitter Spaces, Sports After Dark episodes on how you feel about Jimmy Garoppolo along with the other Niners fans. So let me ask you this. In this draft, going into the season, what kind of moves can y'all make to try to get y'all over the hump? Because you've always had the talent. You're loaded. Most likely, you're going to fight to keep the division title. I'm saying fight because my Seahawks ain't going nowhere. We're going to continue to compete. We're going to stack up weapons, and we're going to find a way to take down y'all boys in Santa Clara.
That poor baby.
But y'all are still loaded. You still got Nick Bosa in the crew. So what y'all got to do this offseason? Like, what y'all got to do this offseason to try to get over the hump?
Our biggest issue has been quarterback. It's been our Achilles heel in every game. Even my guy Mark Gunnels, we lost the Super Bowl because of our quarterback. We lost to the Rams in the NFC Championship because of a quarterback. We lost to the Eagles in the NFC Championship because of a quarterback. So quarterback has been our biggest issue. We do need to fill some needs at the right tackle position. I feel like we'll go after that. We do need to fill things on the offensive line. I like Drew Scruggs coming out of Penn State. I feel like I love him at the center position. He can move into guard if we need him to. I like Will McDonald out of Iowa State. We need another pass rusher on the side of Nick Bosa. Because in the playoffs, we do need a pass rusher, man. Nick Bosa, he was rushing on the edge. We ain't had nobody get over. Shout out to
USC.
You have the most disgusting defensive line in the NFL right now.
I mean, listen, man. In the playoffs, shout out to us getting Javon Hargrave, but we need another edge rusher that can meet Nick Bosa on the other side.
He want everybody on the 49ers. They're greedy. They're greedy in San Francisco.
He's like, I want Nick and Joey Bosa. I want Ndamukong Suh. We already got to the linebackers. I need Jalen Ramsey. Man. I need.
Y'all got to understand, Garrett and Jalen. I watched us lose 2 Super Bowls, bro. I'm tired of being heartbroken. It's clearly we can get to the NFC Championship. That's clear, but it's time for us to win one, man. It's time.
It's the Kyle Shanahan curse.
Mark, hold on 1 second. I'm gonna get to you later. We're gonna get to you later, Miss Ashley.
I mean, he the champ. You gotta let the champ go last. He the champ.
Yeah, that's what I said. I'm letting him go later. So,
hey, you're welcome for that fumble, Mark.
So, Ashley, what are you gonna be looking forward to your draft? Which your squad.
Well, Dallas uncharacteristically did very well in this offseason so far. I know, don't hate. He really listening for real. Y'all can fake
I know
he's
sitting there like I'm waiting for a mix up.
So we did really good. So now because we did so good, it's really not, the draft is not of a pressing issue, even though we draft very well every year anyway. We do.
Yeah, and your owner always leads on the draft rather than free agency. Even though y'all make some good moves, I'll give you credit.
My owner he don't make no calls. He ain't been making calls for the last 5-6 years in the draft. That's all his son, right? So obviously, like you said, if Bijan is sitting at 26, I would love him. As I've done further research, though, I don't think that Dallas is going to go running back. I know a lot of us want them to go tight end as well. I think we're going to go guard. I'm looking at Steve Avila out of TCU.
He got good tape.
Yeah, I looked at some of his film. Big body guy, he's really good. We need a guard, man. I looked at our depth chart and I don't even know.
How old is Zach Martin?
Well, no, Zach Martin is our right. We need a left. We need somebody at the left. Zach Martin's good. Let him do his thing. He gonna do him. Right. We need somebody on that offensive line, man. We don't have McGovern. We lost some folks. Is it McGovern we lost? Yeah, I think McGovern walked.
Mm-hmm.
So we need some folks.
You don't believe in Tyler Smith?
Tyler is cool, but he's at tackle. He's at left tackle. Perhaps he stays there. Maybe they switch Tyron back and put Tyler on the other side. Tyler was in that slot because Tyron was out for all season. So I'm interested to see where they'll go. Either way, there's a couple of people that they can plug and play in different places. Steve Avila. I think he's ready. He game ready, and Dallas is really good at coaching up their players anyway. They did a great job with Tyler Smith. Nobody knew who he was.
I'll give y'all.
He had a great season. So guard, if we don't get him, and Bijan is still on the board, Bijan Robinson, and I would not mind Drew Sanders either on defense.
Well, and the thing too is this is a deep draft for running back and offensive line too. So even if Bijan goes before you can get somebody in the second round who can still be a plug and play guy. I think Deuce Vaughn is going to be the steal of the draft. I don't care how short he is. I don't care anything. The
running back from Kansas State.
Dude can ball. Yeah, I don't care.
He's like that.
Garrett,
I like Jahmyr Gibbs. I like Jahmyr Gibbs too from Alabama.
I like Jahmyr. There's that smile, Jalen.
Yes, sir. But Garrett, go ahead. What you want your Jazz to focus on?
We need O-line and we need defensive back. That's really it. I mean, we're set at quarterback. We got Sunshine himself. We have ETN at running back and Snoop Connors will be fine. We have a stacked wide receiver core. And for the people who think that Calvin Ridley took a step back, he took a year off and his best season of his career, he did with a broken foot.
And he did it with Matt Ryan.
Mr. I am elite Matt Ryan. We've got the most mid quarterback. Jalen, we talk about all the time with Hall of Fame and Hall of Game. He is 100% Hall of Game. He is not Hall of Fame. But he'll get in there based on stats alone. But
Yeah.
we need defensive back and we need offensive line. I think we'll take O-line in the first round, defensive back in the second round.
All right, I'm gonna let, like I said, we gotta let the Super Bowl champion go last. So I'm gonna give mine. My Seahawks. For me, we got two first round picks. We got number 5. Oh, I got Tylenol in here if you need some. Also, I got Robitussin as well.
Cool.
All right, but I don't know. Number 5 is gonna be interesting to me because like there's a bunch of routes that we went. So I'm gonna give y'all my opinion on this one. A lot of my drafts said that we got Jalen Carter out of Georgia, that we should get him. That's the easy
Please
pick.
don't.
I want to get him.
Get Jalen Carter. Y'all get Jalen Carter. I'm gonna be sick, bro.
Like y'all be fine. Y'all be fine.
You know who you need, because if you don't take him, you're going to be dumb.
Here's where I talked to Garrett on our few shows, like, so y'all can go back and look at this. I said I wouldn't mind for us to get Anthony Richardson. Let me explain.
The perfect fit.
Let me explain why. When we got DK Metcalf, what was the main topic about a lot of scouts and a lot of GMs? He couldn't run routes. He was raw. Big body, big size, had a whole bunch of talent, tremendous combine. Tape wasn't always there. What does he do? He goes to Seattle with Pete Carroll, Russell Wilson. Pete Carroll develops him. Next thing you know, he breaks the record for most receiving yards by a rookie in their first playoff game. Then you take in Earl Thomas, Richard Sherman, Cam Chancellor. Cam Chancellor was once a quarterback before he switched to safety back when he was Virginia Tech. Next thing you know, he's one of the best hard-hitting safeties in the game. Earl Thomas, we already know what he was before he left to Baltimore and ended up becoming an all-pro safety into an all-pro fullback. Thank you, Derrick Henry. Richard Sherman, we already know what he was. Long, lanky, wasn't the best. Came to Seattle, got developed by Pete Carroll and the coaching staff, ended up being one of the best cornerbacks in the game. We take an Anthony Richardson who is raw, flat out raw. He sits behind Geno Smith for about maybe 2 or 3 years. Learns the system, learns the game. We've seen young stud quarterbacks sit a year behind guys that are not necessarily the best at their position, but they know the game. Guys like that, like Anthony Richardson, need to know the game. He has all the attributes and the abilities, but he needs time to develop. The best place for him to go is Seattle. I wouldn't mind taking him at 5. But if you're a franchise that's desperate to get a quarterback, you don't want to get a Richardson who is not ready yet. Both in the mental aspect, yeah, he's physically already there, but not there, if you know what I mean.
Go ahead.
So I would like to take him. Of course, I would take Jalen Carter for a multitude of reasons. We need to load up on our D-line as well. We're just seeing what San Francisco's been doing in the division for years. They've been stacking up on the D-line. It's only a matter of time. And we haven't had an elite pass rusher since the Legion of Boom with Cliff Averill and Michael Bennett. So we got to find a way to fix that. But if we weren't getting him, if we're not going to get him, I wouldn't mind taking Anthony Richardson. Because when you have 2 first-round draft picks and one of them being high, you can risk like getting talent and then getting a need with the other first-round pick.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that Anthony Richardson, I think he would. I wouldn't mind seeing him at 1 with Carolina. And the only reason why I say that is because he wouldn't be able to sit behind anybody per se, but if there's any division that's going to grab him,
I'll give you that.
It could be the NFC South, because
they'll reach for sure.
You could insert him on the Carolina Panthers, and they have a legitimate chance of winning the division this year because the NFC South is so bad.
If they want to win the division, you get Bryce Young.
That kind of allows like hands-on. But I do like the idea of him kind of sitting. All the greats sit. Mahomes had to sit. Brady had to sit. Rodgers had to sit. Folks had to sit. To become great. So I like the idea of him sitting. But if the Panthers pick him up, I just don't feel like that's a bad move, because you can develop him for the next 3 or 4 seasons and still have a chance at winning the division, because it's trash.
I think this is the best move for Seattle.
Crazy part real quick, Jalen. I actually had a conversation on the side, and I said I could see AR going to the Seahawks, and I said that would be a perfect spot for him. Even though I don't like
5?
They're at 6.
Might not maybe at 5.
We got number 5 and we got 20.
We got 2 first-round picks, so they can spend one of them. But I definitely, honestly, on the football side, I definitely say Anthony Richardson would definitely be a good fit in Seattle.
All right,
you guys aren't going to have a top 10 pick again for a long time, God willing. And
Who?
Denver won't either.
Who?
Seattle.
Oh,
You won't have a
Oh,
top
no.
10 pick again for a while. This Geno
Yeah, I'll give
Smith
you that.
has 3-4 years left max. This is the perfect time to draft the heir apparent. And Geno's already come out and said, I don't mind teaching for 3 years. I mean, Geno knows he's got 3-4 years left. This is the perfect time. They're taking a quarterback.
If we don't take Richardson, I wouldn't mind getting Henry Hooker out of Tennessee. That's just me.
They're taking
All
a quarterback for sure. But
I like
All right,
Hendon
so-
Hooker too.
I want to touch on one
so-
thing before we get into our question.
No, Mark got to go.
Oh,
He's
Mark,
Super
I'm
Bowl
so sorry,
champion.
Mark. Go ahead.
Yeah, Super Bowl champion. Two in the last 5
I can't wait
years?
till I get this kind of attention next season.
Y'all say that every year.
Wait, hold on.
I can't
we
wait.
might-
I can't
hold
wait
on.
till I
We-
go on shows and they be like Super Bowl champion. I can't
We must be in Ashley's dream or something. Somebody like pour some.
It's coming. It's coming. Don't worry.
All right,
Cowboys fans say that every
Mark,
year.
you got Patrick Mahomes, you got Travis Kelce, you still got Andy Reid for a long time. Y'all are the cream of the crop once again. You won a championship. So going into this draft, what all do y'all need? Because you got Mahomes.
So our 3 biggest needs right now, I'm looking at wide receiver, another offensive tackle, particularly a right tackle, because we took your guy Garrett, we're making him a left tackle, and Jawan Taylor.
Hey, look,
That's not going
good
to work
luck.
out good.
Good luck. I tell Jalen and I talk about this all the time. As much as I love Jawan, I will never, and I hate to see him go, I will never fault someone for chasing that bag ever. If you are guaranteed life-changing money, go get it.
Yeah, we're paying him left tackle money, so he's going to play left tackle for us. And I think it's an upgrade over Orlando Brown because he's way more athletic. And with the way our offenses ran, we need an athletic tackle, not somebody that's just a big bruiser. So I think it's going to fit better for our system having him at left tackle over Orlando. But we need a right tackle. We have a couple guys like Lucas Niang. He was hurt last year. He's going to fight for that position. But we're going to have to draft somebody to have an open competition for right tackle in training camp. So offensive tackle, especially right tackle. Looking at wide receiver, and then another edge rusher.
Who's a receiver that you want to get if you had to choose?
So
Because you don't need it.
Here's the thing.
They don't need it.
We have a chance to go after. If we don't get DeAndre Hopkins, which I think is very realistic still, is we have so many draft. We have 10 draft picks amongst the top in the league. So we have a lot of draft capital. So we could make that move for D-Hop if we want to. Sorry, Ashley. But if we don't get DeAndre Hopkins, then at that point, I want to get a receiver in the first round. And like I said, we have a lot of picks to where if we really want somebody, we can trade up to get that guy, like a
who
or Jordan Addison.
Okay, you would take Jordan number 1?
No, I would take JSN if we could trade up.
Thank you. Exactly. I would take.
I'm not sold on Quentin Johnson at a TCU.
Me either.
I'm not.
Yeah, I got some,
Me either, Garrett.
I got some
I would
questions.
take him at 31, but I wouldn't trade up to get him.
No.
Now if you
I'm
get
not.
him at 31, absolutely, Mark.
I'm not
Absolutely.
sold on him. I think Zay Flowers is better. I think Quentin Johnson benefits a lot from the size, but if you look at a lot of it's we talk about all the time. Look at the tape.
Yep.
Pro days don't matter.
The tape never
Pro days
lies.
are dumb. Tape doesn't lie. And while he did ball out at tape, you look at plays where he doesn't really fight through coverage. A lot of he does a lot of body catches. He reminds me a lot of Malcolm Floyd from Notre Dame.
I was about to say Kelvin Benjamin.
I'll give you Kelvin Benjamin. He reminds me a lot of.
He has better yak ability though than those guys.
Yeah, he do.
He does.
He do.
But yeah, let's wrap it up because we're running a little bit over. But I mean, we knew we would anyways. We got 2 questions for you. One, I want to get into one thing because we touched on earlier. Jalen Hurts' contract, and I want to shine a light on a couple things before we get into this. So he is now the highest paid player in the league. But have y'all seen the breakdown of his contract yet?
Very team friendly.
It's remarkably team friendly. So for those who haven't, he's getting
shout out to Nicole Lynn.
Shout out to his whole team. He's got $6 million 2023, 13.5 2024, 21.8. I'm rounding up a little bit. 21.8 in 2025 and 31.8 in 2026. It's super team friendly. It's allowing the vets to be paid. And people are like, oh, he's the highest paid player in the league. He's, whatever. It's like, yeah, but he's also earned it. This is the next, Kurt Warner, movie story. Like this dude has a Hollywood story. It's 100% going to happen. I mean, a dude balled out. But the one thing I want to draw attention to as well, before we get into whether we think he's earned it or not, I want to go back to the NFC East team. I want to talk about the Daniel Jones contract, and I will never call him by his nickname until he's earned it. I will call you by your
Millions.
I can't call him, but you earn a nickname. You don't earn. You're not just given one. You have to earn your nickname.
That's
But
why
he
I
is
said Garoppolo.
Mm-hmm. Look, he's making 21 million, 45 million, 39 million, 56 million. And he has not thrown for more touchdowns than games he started in his entire career.
I don't think he's thrown for more yards than the contract that he received.
It's ridiculous. So when you compare those two contracts and you look at all the other quarterbacks, I got into it with somebody earlier where we were talking, again, back to Twitter beef. We were talking about Jalen Hurts, and you talk about other quarterbacks who are making 40 plus million a year, or almost 50 million a year. Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray, and Deshaun Watson are all making over 49 million per year. And between the 4 or 5 of them, they only have 2 rings from 10 years ago. So there's a lot of these guys who are banking on old wins and old contracts who haven't earned it. So before I go down this rabbit hole any further, what do y'all think about the Jalen Hurts contract? I mean, because I'm in favor of it. I think dude's earned it.
I'll go first with this one. I'll make this one quick because I mentioned this earlier. I told him earlier that when it comes to contract signings and extensions, most owners now are not going to pay you for what you've done. They're going to pay you for what you potentially can do.
Right.
With Jalen Hurts, from what we've seen in past, like since he entered into the league, he's got better and better and better and better at the position. One year, whether you can look at his stats or whether you can look at the way he plays, his game has gotten has gotten more better. Last season, we saw in the offseason, he worked on his passing, he worked on his technique. He went out to the lab to put in work. And it also helped that Howie Roseman is his GM and went to get him AJ Brown, and Devontae Smith was already getting better. And then like Nick Sirianni's going into his second year as the head coach. They develop an offense that's built around him to be able to exploit that and punish other defenses and stuff. And we saw the effect of Jalen Hurts that it's not the offense, it's actually the quarterback. We saw that in the Super Bowl, and we saw it when he did not play against the Cowboys and on Christmas Eve. So we done seen that. So to see the improvement of Jalen Hurts, improve, and get better, he earned the contract. Did not deserve it. He earned it because not what he's done is what he's about to do. Because he's going to continue to get better. He's going to continue to wreak havoc in his division. Not sorry, Ashley. And he's going to keep wreaking havoc in the NFC that I have to deal with and that Heavy's going to have to deal with.
Y'all go ahead.
I think he definitely earned it. Like you mentioned, you're paying for what he's going to do moving forward, not what he did really necessarily in the past. It's a combination of both, obviously. But the fact that they got out in front of it, I think they learned a lot. I think a lot of teams are going to learn their lesson from what the Ravens didn't do. They got out in front of it early, and this deal will look like a bargain in 2 or 3 years. You still got Burrow's going to get paid. You still got Herbert about to get paid. Your boy T. Law about to get paid next offseason.
He's looking for a Patrick Mahomes 10-year contract. I'll take it.
So while it looks like this big number now or whatever, in 2 or 3 years, it's going to be a bargain, just like Patrick Mahomes. They got his deal done at the right time, and now he's like, I think, the 6th highest paid quarterback, and he's only going to keep going further down that list as guys continue to get paid.
He restructured too, which helped.
Yeah.
Ashley, what you think?
He's in my division, so
I know he is, but
I don't, No, listen, I'm 50-50 on this, man. I would like for it to go back to the old days where you needed more than just 2 true seasons to get paid this kind of money. Listen, I understand that this is kind of what the market is demanding at this point.
Thank you, Cleveland.
But I still think that and to be honest, Jalen kind of stabilized it a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Kind of brought it down just a tad or whatever. When you talk about again how friendly the deal is. For me, and this is probably why I'm not a GM, I need to see how you make something out of nothing before I pay you that kind of money. But again, this is what the market demands. So it is what it is. I saw him with nothing and made nothing out of it. And then I saw him with everything in the world and did something with it. This is not the same Philadelphia team. It's not going to be the same team as last season. You know what I'm saying? It's just not going to be that. Teams know how to play them now. Teams know how to play him. You know what I'm saying? Again, they don't have 100% of the same pieces. But again, I'm never gonna trash a guy for getting his bread. I hear that the benefits in the NFL after you play ball are absolutely disgusting. So get your money while you can. I'm all for that.
Save up for it.
So
yep.
It is what it is. Yeah.
Or in another instance, make sure that you put all your belongings and your savings into your mother's name.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
that.
Something to that extent. Go ahead.
If you know, you know.
Oh, that was amazing.
I'm the same way, as everybody else. I definitely don't knock him for getting your money, because get your money, you know what I'm saying? Like he earned it. He earned it for sure. But I'm like on the same fence as Ashley, when he was just him there, he didn't look too good, but they put some weapons around him and he progressed from it, and he made the best of the situation. So he earned his money. Absolutely. We are in a league now where people live in the moment. Heck, Jimmy Garoppolo got a high paid contract off 5 games. We gave him over 160 million off 5 games. So we're dead off.
Literally right after the trade deadline.
You know what I'm saying? After the trade deadline, he played 5 games and got cashed out. So it's like, that's where we at now. I'm glad that it is team friendly, because it doesn't put the Eagles in a position where they can't still make moves. They can still do things to keep the team competitive. But it's definitely going to be interesting to see, because, once you get them contracts, there's a lot of pressure on you after that. Yep. You know what I mean? You done made it to a Super Bowl. They going to say, all right, we gave you $51 million. We got to see what you can do now, big dog. You got to be able to make sure you can stand on that contract that you just got. And it's a no trade clause, by the way.
Yep.
One thing I want to give credit to as well, that I feel like not a lot of people talk about, the backloaded contracts are pretty player friendly too, because what that does is that protects you later on, especially if the money's guaranteed. Because if you get all the heavy contract up front, they can cut you, in 2 years and pay you next to nothing. But now he's going to be in Philly for the long haul, even if he has bad seasons, because they owe him $30 million in 2026.
Real quick. So going along with talking about Jalen Hurts' contract, I wanted to ask y'all this. How much of Jalen Hurts getting his deal done with the Eagles is going to affect Lamar Jackson's contract situation?
We'll let Mark answer that first.
Yeah, we'll swing that to Mark.
Yeah, so I don't think it affects it that much. It may actually help, because you look at the guaranteed money and what he got at signing, based on what's been reported for Lamar Jackson, it's not that far off. Right. I think it's within the realm of possibility to where now they can go back to the table and be like, hey, this guy went to the Super Bowl. I know you won MVP, but that was 3 years ago. You've been hurt the last 2 years. You didn't finish the last 2 seasons. We're still willing to give you a similar deal despite all of that. So I think Lamar probably felt a little, backstab maybe a little bit. And, a lot of pride goes into these things when you're negotiating, especially when you don't have an agent. I think that's definitely a big
You are
part.
saving 10% to lose 20, and I don't understand it.
Yeah, and shout to Jalen. He had an agent. They got it done, and now Lamar, you're on the clock.
The thing for me with Lamar's deal too, like, I think he's been offered, but I think the thing that he helps his case as well. If you look at the numbers when Huntley was under center, and you look at the numbers when Lamar is under center, Huntley averaged 14 points a game. Or their offense averaged 14 points a game when he was under center, which the fact that he got a Pro Bowl bid, just don't get me started. I was mad about it, but it is what it is.
He had no business being at the Pro Bowl. I'll say it for you, bro. He had no business being at the Pro Bowl.
It is what it is. But
he had no business being there.
It is what it is. But I mean, if you look at that and you look at how dynamic Lamar is as a player and when that offense goes, I mean, it's crazy. So I think he can hold him on that one. But we're definitely running a bit over time on this one.
But we got time for one thing.
We got time for one question.
It's time. It is time.
So we ask everybody this question whenever we have a collab. The only one we didn't ask is Aaron. Aaron, you're getting asked next week when you come on. That is happening. So prepare yourself. Jalen, let's have it. What is the question?
All right, guys. So the question that we end this show off every time, and it's one of my favorite. Guys, is a hot dog a sandwich?
That's a tricky question right there, because technically, if you're using a bun, you can make a bun. You could split it into 2. But if you're using, from the hood, using one slice of bread, that's not a sandwich. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna lean towards. I'm gonna say no.
Okay.
Before we get into this,
sandwich.
Not a sandwich.
That's 2. Mark?
It's a sandwich. It is a sandwich.
Thank you.
Wow.
That's my dog.
Sandwich.
It is bread and substance
in
between
bread,
the bread.
and you can put stuff on it like ketchup, relish, mustard.
There's only one piece of bread that's folded.
That's what I'm saying.
If it's not a sandwich, then what is it?
It's a hot dog.
It's a hot dog.
It's a
No,
glizzy.
here's where I got it. Here's my case. All right, question. Since it's a bun and it's breaded and connected together and you fold it, it's known to making the sandwich. All right, question. When you make a sandwich, it's two separate things that come together. Have you ever heard of conjoined twins?
Yeah.
Are they the same person? Is it one person? Or is it two?
This is very nasty work from you, Jalen.
This is right, real. Like
this is
this
very
is
nasty work from you, Jalen.
Yeah.
Hey, he took it there. I didn't. Here's the way I look at it.
Yo.
It is not a sandwich.
Yeah,
so,
it's not a
a
sandwich.
Philly
It's a sandwich, man.
A pub sub. They all are not.
You can put toppings on top
middle.
of pizza crust, and that don't make it no sense.
Right, that don't. Yeah.
That's why you get another pizza to stack it on.
Nah,
This is very nasty.
Not
work.
on duty. Not on duty.
Hey, look.
No.
It's here's the way I look at
All
it.
right, we got
You get bread and you have substance between it. It doesn't have to be cut all the way through. A Philly cheesesteak isn't cut all the way through. That's still a sandwich. Any pub sub for my Southeast people, you do not cut that bread all the way through. That is still a sandwich. It is the bread does not have to be cut through all the way. It is substance between two ends of bread. It's a sandwich.
That's
By definition.
He
It's a
preaching
sandwich.
that gospel. He preaching that gospel.
I ain't
It's
with
a
it,
hot
man.
dog.
Yeah, that's yeah.
It's
And
a
it's
sandwich.
funny
It's
that
sandwich
y'all, it's
bracket
funny
for
that
me.
y'all brought that up because that's for dinner tonight. Hot dog and French fries. That's what I'm making.
You eating got it. You having a sandwich, got it.
Do you having a sandwich for dinner? Got it. Okay.
Hey,
Leave it to the Lakers and Cowboys fans to think that a hot dog is not a sandwich.
Hey, man.
Well, Mark said it's a sandwich. Mark said it is a sandwich.
hey, but Garrett, go ahead and end this.
Hey, let's get right into it, man. So first of all, I want to thank you guys for coming on. We really do appreciate it. We ran a little bit long, but it is what it is. Everyone's going to have to live with it. So before we get into that, I want to let you guys, plug whatever you want. Plug your show, plug your Twitter handles, plug whatever. We'll start with Ashley, go to Mark, then go to Heavy. So
Sure. Make sure
where can
that
the
you
people
guys,
find you?
you can follow me on Twitter, Ashley Baker _21. That's Instagram and TikTok as well. Also, you can tap into my podcast About Nothing But Sports. That's on Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you find your podcasts, where you can find that. That is the same thing for Sports After Dark. You can find it on Spotify. You can find it on YouTube, and you can find it on Twitter. Sports A Dark _ is the Twitter handle for the show. And while you're there, make sure that you tap in to the community as well. We 1,600 strong in there, y'all. So it's great conversation, great talk. You'll love it there.
Mark, what about you? Where can the people find you?
Yeah, follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Mark A. Gunnels. If you follow me on either one of those, you'll see all my links as far as I'm on Laker Nation. I give daily betting advice for every Laker game, player props, spread, over-unders, all that stuff. And I also write weekly articles for Arrowhead Pride, which is the most popular Chiefs website on the interweb. All
right. Heavy, where can the people find you, man?
Same with me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. You can find me at YoungHeavy24. That's basically how it is, how you see it up there, but just add the 24 next to it. And my podcast will be actually starting after the NFL draft, May 1st.
Hit us up. We'll be happy to join.
Definitely let you know. It's gonna be called Let's Talk Heavy, so it'll be coming soon.
Well, I am a big dude, ran around 302, so I do fit the category.
And as always, you can find us at TDSN Pod on Twitter. That's the best place to interact with us. You can also find us on Facebook at 2 Dudes of Sports News. I'm going to be honest. If you respond to us on there, we're probably not going to respond back for a week. I check it. I check it every few days. I do run our Twitter. So if you have any beef with anything we say, most likely on me. Don't come for Jalen. Usually I'll say
come for me.
Usually I'm saying I'm speaking for me. But
I don't smoke, but I smoke meat. So let's go.
Hey, Garrett, I might come down to Jacksonville for that Chiefs game this year.
Hey, there we go. But so we're going to find us at TDSN Pod on Twitter. Before we get into it, we want to thank everyone for listening. We want to thank all the reviews, the comments, the retweets, the posts, all of it. We appreciate you. If you like the show, tell everyone you know, tell your crazy loyal to the foil uncle, tell everybody you know, your friends, your best friend, people you haven't spoken to in 3 years. Message that old high school friend that you had, instead of asking about Herbalife, ask about, hey, have you checked out this podcast yet? Have some fun with it. We're on every platform you can imagine. If you can't find us on one, DM us and I'll get on there. I'm not worried about that. If you want to shout out to, and like I said, if you loved it, tell them what you know. If you didn't love it, that's fine. You're not getting the 79 minutes of your life back. but let's not get reviews into this. I can't give you the time back. None of us can, but we appreciate you anyways. I also want to give a shout out to all the people who do retweet, like, and all that. And that's the best way to get a shout out on our show. Bit of a list, but we'll get there. First, want to shout out Austin with the Wrestling World Podcast, our buddy Jim over at Fan of the Van, who has been active in the chat. I see you, man. Brent and Dave over 1420 Sports, the BSN Sports Podcast, Aaron and JD over at the Bruliana Sports Podcast, Nate's Daily Wager, our boy Darian over at Chill Takes. Excited to get on with you in a week, man. Dave and John over at Level the Playing Field, the We Like Sports Podcast, Sports Betting with Jake and Scott, Sports Bliss with Rob and Chris, the Refiltered and the Stupid History Minute Podcast, and then John over Wrestling Fans Insight.
I got one more shout out. Shout out to the soccer player, Ashraf Hakimi, for pulling off the biggest hustle, the biggest finesse known to man. He gave people the blueprint on how to survive after a divorce. So shout out to him. His birthday is now a half statewide holiday, according to a lot of people on TikTok. Also, lastly, once again, I want to thank the crew, the club owners. 3 out of 4. Shout out to C-Lou that wasn't able to be here. But we're thankful to have the 3 club owners of Sports After the Dark. We appreciate y'all.
Thank y'all for having us, man. We appreciate it.
Y'all.
Yeah,
appreciate you, bro.
So, Garrett.
All right. Well, as always, thank you. And we'll see you next time.